Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dota 2 Builds of the Week TI10 Grand Finals Edition. TI10 Grand Finals just happened, and with that, we're going to be talking about 5 builds that were showcased in the Grand Finals, 1 build for each of the 5 positions. And we're starting with Position 1, Hard Carry, and we're talking about Yatoro's Aluna. Yatoro did a very unique thing here, and not unique at high MMRs, but at relatively low MMRs is unique. He held Eclipse until level 12. Now, in your standard pubs, you probably might not do this, but this is what he did. Why? Because he focused on farming. Every single thing he did focused on farming and farming as fast as he could. He went the mask, he got his Dragon Lance, and then he went pure damage, including the, eventually getting a Daedalus. But there's also a few optional things you need to know about. He ended up actually taking a Assault Cuirass, which is kind of crazy and kind of uncommon on the Luna. But regardless of that, Satanic, standard stuff for Luna. Hurricane Pike, which is great from the Dragon Lance. Satanic coming from the Mask of Magnus. You have a Butterfly against other right-clicking based carries. But ultimately, what made this build really unique is the focus on Lucent Beam, but the rather late pickup of Eclipse, and what was ultimately a completely dominant performance from Yatoro. NothingToSay's mid-tinker was absolutely insane and is regarded by most to be one of the absolute best, if not the best, in the entire world. And at the Grand Finals, he pulled it out, and this is the build he did. Focusing in on heat-sinking missile, and also, going towards the regen early on between the bottle and the Soul Ring. Soul Ring being beneficial as a tinker, obviously, because, you can go back to Fountain very frequently, refill the bottle, and heal yourself up as you utilize your Soul Ring. Rushing the Blink Dagger, getting the Ags, and then going with Aether Lens so you can basically shoot missiles from far away and do a ton of damage. He ultimately went a Scythe of the Vise here to help counter the right-clicking meta of Team Spirit at that particular point in time. Optional items include an Aeon Disc, which is, a very survivable item, prevents Tinker from being burst down before he has an opportunity to escape, BKB, providing magic immunity, and then obviously the Octarine Core, which builds from the Aether Lens. And although overwhelming Blink did get nerfed, it's still viable on Tinker, and he actually pulled it out during these Grand Finals. And once again, NothingToSay's Grand Final Tinker was a masterpiece to behold. Without question, the MVP of the Grand Finals was Collapse. And Collapse's Magnus was an absolute monstrosity amongst heroes during those Grand Finals. This is the build that he did, focusing on the Empower early to help Yatoro farm. He also went all the Skewer talents, simply to ensure that he could do as much damage by pulling heroes out of position as possible, right? He focused in on stats in the laning phase, focused in on getting regeneration, went Mana Boots, and then ultimately going the Agnum Shard, obviously for Horn Toss, and then BKB into Aether Lens to increase the ability for him to capture enemies. In this particular game, he did have a Refresher Orb queued up. Lotus Orb was also a very good option on a Magnus. But at the end of the day, this was the build that he did, focusing in on getting a very balanced start with regards to the build, farming very effectively with Empower, which also allows him to trade very effectively in lane and secure CS, and ultimately getting that sweet RP, which he actually held off for some time. He actually did not take level 2 RP at 12, which was kind of unique. He ultimately decided to stay with Skewer for as long as he could, but regardless of that, right, an absolutely tremendous player who put on an absolute showcase in TI. Mira's Position 4 Lion is actually really unique, primarily for the reason that he often has a lower net worth than that of the Position 5 Miposhka, which is not common, and not particularly common in pubs at least. What's unique about this is that he actually had a very straightforward build, regen into Boots Blink. That's it. He ultimately went Ghost Scepter in that game. However, what's important to understand is that your optional items will greatly depend on the given game. If you're not being right-clicked down, then Ghost Scepter doesn't make sense, right? Perhaps you want a Force Staff. Perhaps you're going to focus on an Aether Lens. Perhaps you want the survivability of a Glimmer Cape for you and your ally, right? It all depends on the game situation. But Mira tends to have lower net worth than Miposhka, and the result of that, in all their games, they had a very kind of straightforward Position 4 build that focused around Finger of Death and getting as much damage as possible out of that skill. A truly remarkable player who did a fantastic job during the Grand Finals. Miposhka's Position 5 Winter Wyvern was a sight to behold at TI10 Grand Finals, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. And what was unique about his build was that he really focused in on the damage element to try and maximize the amount of damage that he could do as a Winter Wyvern, which is not to be underestimated. What was also unique was his start. he actually started with 2 sentry wards, which is kind of unique. Why? Because what he did was he actually blocked the mid lane camp on the opposite side to help his mid laner. And then he also blocked the hard camp in his lane, resulting in 2 blocked camps that could benefit his team. It's those small things that make TI10 winners. He ultimately went, a stick into Boots, Blink, and Aether Lens with optional items, including, your Magic Wand, your Tranquils. So what you do is you break down your Arcane Boots to build an Aether Lens, and you finish Tranquil Boots to give yourself that added regeneration. Winter Wyvern really benefits from Holy Locket, although he did not actually spec the healing here. If you want to build a Holy Locket, you're probably best to take the healing at level 10. Regardless of that, Force Staff, Ghost Scepters, and Aeon Discs are all valuable survivable items for yourself and your team. TI10 was an absolutely phenomenal experience. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. If you're interested in seeing more TI10 builds, I'll link it above on the side there. See you later.